cable, kneeling, lat pull down. You want to set up your cable unit that the cables are coming from up high and relatively close together. Okay? The real distance doesn't really matter that much as long as they're not coming all the way from the far away from the sides. Then you grab the cables, you kneel down. When you're kneeling down, watch that your lower back maintains to be nice and flat. Don't overarch your lower back. So keep your lower back nice and flat, looking straight ahead, pulling down the cable unit, and if you take a look, you can see my forearm is vertical to the ground. If I would want to go lower, I would start rotate my shoulder. Now that puts a lot of pressure on the medial elbow joint. You want to maintain this nice vertical position, so go only as deep as you can. And then you go all the way up, allow your shoulders to rise. Now while you're doing this, where your hands should be. Now, depending on how you set the cable unit, your hand position, the most comfortable hand position will change. If your cables are relatively close, this is probably how you're going to feel like pulling the cables. So as long as you pay attention that at the bottom position, your forearm is vertical to the ground, you're good. Now obviously if the cable's coming from a little bit further, the ideal pulling is going to change as well. So don't be too set on how your hands should be. It doesn't really matter that much, as long as you focus that your forearm is vertical at the bottom. Now the forearm doesn't need to stay vertical, and I don't want you to really pay attention to it while you're doing the exercise, only at the very bottom position. Okay? So watch the lower back, that it's not changing positions, and also watch your neck. You do not start to look down like this. Okay? So always keep your eyes nice and horizontal level while you're doing this exercise. So this is the kneeling lat pull down. The reason this is better than an exercise when you're sitting down at the lat pull down machine is because a human being, whenever you're doing any kind of pulling pattern, the hip flexors don't usually work the way how those cable units set up. Usually over top your thighs there is this padding, and as you're pulling yourself, that's what you're holding yourself with. It's not really functional to have that kind of hip flexion combined with the pulling pattern. So in the kneeling position, you actually have to utilize your abdominals more effectively. You have a better sense of your spine when you're just kneeling and you don't have any kind of supporting structure around you. If you would have a cable unit which you can set up really, really high, I would even recommend to you to do it standing up if it's possible. This was the kneeling cable lat pull down.